Relative to the other strokes, butterfly breakouts present a unique challenge. And in contrast to freestyle and backstroke, swimmers have to change their rhythm within the same skill as opposed to changing between two different skills. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. Just like performing breakouts in every other stroke, in butterfly, swimmers have to do a great job making sure that they're taking everything forward through the breakout rather than just coming up. They need to maintain as much speed as possible by keeping resistance as low as possible, and they have to continue to create propulsion throughout the breakout as well. In butterfly, swimmers are going to be performing underwater dolphin kicks prior to the breakout, and then they're going to transition to dolphin kicking while they're swimming butterfly. The key difference is that the rhythm of underwater dolphin kicks and the rhythm of butterfly kicks is very different, even if the skills are very similar. A lot of swimmers really struggle to transition between the much faster rate associated with underwater kicking and the slower rate associated with swimming butterfly with dolphin kicks. When swimmers struggle to quickly and effectively transition their rhythm, they lose speed, they waste energy, and that's exactly how they don't want to start each lap. The smoother they can make the transition into their butterfly swimming, the sooner they can set their kick tempo and their kick rate, the faster they're going to go. Let's see it in action. So if we watch this swimmer here, the first thing to notice is that as he breaks out, everything is moving forward and he's into his rhythm, he's into his stroke right away. And so the more he can carry things forward through the breakout, there's going to be some up and down motion, and especially if swimmers are kicking underwater for an extended period of time, they may need to take a breath, but even then, they want everything to move forward down the pool as opposed to up. And that's going to be a key initial aspect of executing an effective breakout. Next up, let's take a look at the kicking rhythm. So he's executing his kicks, and then he's right into the kick timing associated with butterfly. So he's kicking when his hands enter, and he's kicking when his hands exit. And there's the smooth transition there, right from the first kick of the stroke into the rest of the stroke. So what's critical to notice here is the second to last kick right here is when his hands start to separate, just like he's setting up his stroke as he would in regular butterfly. He's going to pull, and then that second kick is immediately happening when he finishes the stroke, just like he would in regular butterfly. And so right away, he's already into the kicking rhythm that he wants with regular butterfly, and he's doing that immediately after the underwater kicks. So boom, separating on the first one, and then exiting the water on the second kick. Again, just like he would use in regular butterfly, so he can immediately get into the rhythm of the stroke as opposed to trying to struggle his way, trying to get the connection happening. So he's anticipating these last two kicks into the breakout. He knows they're coming, and he starts to change his rhythm right when he starts to separate his arms to set up the first stroke. So a key aspect of a great butterfly breakout is anticipating the timing, getting the timing locked in right when he's about to break the surface. And so again, once he knows he wants to take the first stroke, that second to last kick has to happen with the initiation of the stroke right there. And then boom, that second kick right when he breaks out, that second kick, there's going to be a downward component to it right there. And you can see the lift up to clear that last bit of water to get up to the surface. And that allows him to get moving forwards really fast as well. So that last kick is going to be really important to, one, set up the rhythm of the stroke, and then two, provide the last amount of lift to get him to the surface so that he can start swimming on the surface. Okay, with this swimmer, he's working the underwaters, and he starts to anticipate the first stroke right there. And so he separates with that second to last kick, and then on the last kick, he's exiting the water with his hands, and now he's into the rhythm of the stroke as well. And so again, you can see the 15-meter mark right here. And so this swimmer is breathing on the first stroke. And again, if swimmers are extending their walls and they're really being good with that, and they can breathe level on that first stroke, like you can see, most of his chest is still under the water. He's not coming really high up. He's just getting high enough to breathe. That could be an effective strategy because the swimmers need air. And so that's going to be really important too, is making sure the breakout is level as possible, even if swimmers are breathing and they're only coming up enough just to get the head out of the water. And so he's barely clearing the surface of the water there. And again, right back into it. And he's established his kicking rhythm just like the previous swimmer. So this swimmer, we can see the anticipation a little bit earlier. He's getting ready to break out. He's coming here. The hands start to separate right before or right after his third to last kick. He starts to separate them just a bit, and now on that second to last kick, that's when you really see him getting ready to execute and set up the stroke. He does execute the pull, and then boom, on that last kick, again, getting his hips up to the surface, getting him up to the surface, and he's already established the kicking rhythm that we're looking for. So kick in the front of the stroke, kick in the back of the stroke, and that was created by timing the breakout with the kicks. So executing his kicking rhythm, he decides it's time to go. He times that second to last kick with the setup of the stroke, with the slide out, boom, executing here, and then recovering all the way through. So the timing of the kicks is absolutely critical if swimmers want to optimize the breakout. It gets them to the surface as effectively as possible, and it gets them to the surface within the rhythm of the stroke they're going to use on the surface. So there's no hesitation, there's no trying to find the groove, there's no trying to find the rhythm. They're just right into it, and they're going fast right from the beginning. So one more swimmer from a slightly different angle, and what we'll see is the same thing. So the second to last kick right here, she starts to set up her stroke, and then boom, she pulls through and then finishes the last kick in time with the exit of the hands. And so again, this swimmer is kicking out to almost 15 meters. There's the red marker right there on the left. And so she's gonna breathe as well because she needs the air and she needs to get going into the next lap. But the key thing is if we watch the suit, you can see the top line of her suit above her chest, and that's gonna barely break the surface of the water right there. And then she's right back into it. So it's already back under the surface. And so she's barely clearing the surface just enough to get her breath. She's not just breaching the surface and really coming up high. She's staying low, and just like the other swimmers. And so it's okay for swimmers to breathe, provided that they breathe effectively, and because they're breathing because they're extending their underwaters, and so they really do need the air. So again, second to last kick right there, setting up the stroke, pulling through, boom, kicking when she finishes the stroke, and then she's right into the rhythm where she's kicking when she enters and kicking when she exits. And so it allows swimmers, when done well, to have zero hesitation into their butterfly swimming. And since butterfly is such a physically demanding event, the last thing swimmers want to do is execute a breakout, which is going to cost them more energy, especially if they're struggling to find their rhythm, because that's just going to magnify the fatigue, and that's going to cause all sorts of problems. So if swimmers can set up their swim timing by executing the beginning of the pull in line with the second to last kick right there, and then executing the pull and then finishing the pull with a final kick as they break out, that's going to allow them to establish the rhythm that they need and get right into that rhythm right away. And when they do that effectively, they're also going to be really low in the water. They're not going to come straight up, and that's going to allow them to maintain as much speed as possible through the breakout because they're not creating unnecessary resistance. If you want to learn more about effective butterfly timing, check out the video above.